Let me ask you a simple question. Why do you watch this video? Why do you watch any YouTube videos about astrophotography? Most likely it is because you want to get better. You want to learn something. You want to improve. And that's great, and I'm really thankful that you're watching my videos. But the issue is with this form of learning that it is not specifically to your needs. It's random. Sometimes it applies to you, sometimes it doesn't. So wouldn't it be great to have a coach? Wouldn't it be great to have someone who stands by your side and who goes critical through each of your pictures that you're taking and gives you specific advice based on your gear, based on your issues, what you could improve so that you can learn and grow on a constant basis? And I found this coach. It's free, and I will show it to you today right after the trailer. Hey, this is Fear into Space. I'm Sascha from Switzerland. So grüezi miteinander and thanks for watching my channel. What I just offered you in the video is not exaggerated. But obviously, yes, it's not a person, it's AI as everything these days. To be specific, I did it with ChatGPT. It's not a simple prompt, it takes some effort from you. But the result is really profound. It's just amazing what you can get out of ChatGPT based on tangible advice, which you can exploit right away. And on my computer, I will show you now what the output is, because seeing is believing. And once I convinced you, then I will show you how you can achieve that. The full prompt you will obviously find in the description below. And I'm fully aware that this video is a little bit longer, but I really hope that you stick to the end and give it a chance. Because I can promise you, no matter if you're a beginner or an expert, you will get something out of it. You will get better. And that's what we all want, right? But before we jump on my computer, just a little bit something which goes on top of what I will show you today. If you still like also having a human contact, a human coach. How about this?
Love space, love this channel? Then you'll love what's going on over on my Patreon. Behind the scenes content, early access, breaking news, exclusive tutorials, tips and tricks just for you. All for the price of a coffee. Go deeper, follow stories as they unfold, get personal support, and download all the supporting docs and data. Join our crew of space enthusiasts. Support the channel, fuel the mission, and unlock a universe of extras. Links below. See you there.
Okay, and now, as promised, to my computer, and I will explain you everything. Okay, welcome to my computer. So this is the picture we will do the whole exercise on, M13, which I recently recorded with my SQA106, and which I still feel is a miracle with only 500mm focal length, this tiny star cluster, getting it so detailed. And look at this when we zoom in here. It's just really cool. And even the galaxies here, they're really nicely visible all over. On the other side, they're a little bit huge halos here on these stars. But otherwise, I'm happy. And that could be the end of the story. I'm happy and I go on and I shoot my next pictures exactly like I shot this one. But is this picture really that good? Is there nothing that I could improve, that I should do differently for the next picture? That's what this is all about. And I will show you first now the result, what I get out of this guide. Because I first want to convince you that this whole exercise is worth it. Once you believe me that, then I will show you how to do it. So we go now here into ChatGPT and look what the guide tells me what it found. Defects found. Mild elongation, northeast to southwest in a raw sub. Guiding error or periodic error mostly cleaned up by the stack, but not fully gone. And yes, the guiding was not the best. I still have to dial it in a little bit with the AM5, so it found that correctly. Full width half max inflated after drizzle. Drizzle at 2 times is blurring more than it helps. And that's one of the crazy findings, so it tells me not to drizzle anymore. Then core stars starting to merge. Luminosity stretch and PXT sharpening push them right on the clipping edge. Fine detail inside of the half-light radius is lost. Minor blue halos on the brightest stars, filter tilt or residual chromatic aberration. Background is clean but a touch undersampled. Faint outer halo stars at M13 are being suppressed by noise reduction. No obvious field tilt. Coma corner stars stay round. Optics and spacing looks good. So that's my main findings, and that's already quite a lot of findings, I have to say. As a next thing, it will actually compare my gear to the result. So based on, for example, that I have an absolutely great refractor with the SK106, do I really do it justice? So resolution 106 millimeter f4.8 with a 3.76 micrometer. Pixels should deliver 2.4 full width half max in a typical 2 arc seconds Swiss seeing. Your 3 arc seconds means you're leaving 20% sharpness on the table. Depth, 2 hours on the Bortle 5 reaches magnitude 21. The image gets to 20.2, respectable, but another 2 to 3 hours would bring a dim background galaxies and clusters faint halo. Field flatness, better than many SK106 samples, no corrective tilt rings needed. Overall, you're 80% of what the rig can do. 80% is not bad, 100% would be better, right? So as next, it compares my stacked image to a single sub, which I selected. Full width half max, and the comparison is plus 15% blur from frame to frame registration and drizzle kernel. Again, I shouldn't drizzle as it looks like. Epilepticity. Alignment improves shape, so that's good. Background noise gets reduced, that's good. The star color, it probably meant the stacked to the process picture, slightly green bias in the stacked one, neutral in the processed one because of SPCC. So it says noise and roundness absolutely improve with the stacking, sharpness and very faint flux took a hit. So next section, it tells me what I should do with the highest return of investment first. First of all, shorter subs for clusters, 30 to 45 seconds instead of 1 minute, avoids clipping without killing signal to noise ratio. Then aggressive dithering, at least 3 frames, 10 picks each, kills residual walking noise and makes drizzle worthwhile. So it looks like I did not dither enough for the drizzle to be worthwhile. Have to have a look at that. Tighter guiding, yes, we know that. Focus monitoring, so it suspects that I did not focus enough and sometimes or some subs got out of focus. And then it even tells me to consider skipping drizzle until you've been 2 times or image under 1.5 seeing, which I will definitely not been. And well, the seeing I probably don't reach. So one of the findings is I should actually stop to drizzle, which is interesting, I think. Processing priorities. This is another kicker. It tells me against what I always preach, run noise exterminator before BXT. Pushing BXT on noisy data exaggerates halos. And we have these huge halos. Definitely something I will try when it's advised here. It's not what I will preach as best practices, but Usually it has some reason. If ChatGPT says something, at least it's worth trying it out. Use BXT, sharpen stars only, and mask out the cluster core. Deconvolute the halo with a separate mild pass. Also, that's very interesting. Then here to use local histogram equalization, get a little bit more contrast. Also tells me to do some star reduction. And also that here is interesting. It tells me to recalibrate the colors of the stretching. Another SPCC. Never done that. It's interesting. Why not? Let's try it. And now last but not least, in section 6, it gives me composition review. So it looks now also at my final picture and tells me what it thinks about it. So the M13 sits dead center, safe but static. I'm just not creative enough. Shifted a quarter left down, so NGC 6217 at 2 o'clock balances the frame. Instant visual tension. I think that's an amazing advice. It also tells me to rotate a little bit so that the diagonal star stream leads the eye to the cluster. It also tells me to dial a little bit back with the saturation. Background seems to be good. And then it sums the whole thing up. Now, honestly, isn't that amazing? There is so much stuff in there, which I can try. Some will work, some will not work out. But now imagine you do that consistently over 10, 20 iterations. How much will you improve? If every time, if there are only 2 things in this report, which you realize you could do something better, if 20 times there are 2 things in there which you could do better, that means that there are 40 things you will do better after these 20 pictures you analyze. So I think this is a huge opportunity, and I will definitely grasp it. And for the next, I don't know how many pictures, this will be my routine. After I did everything, I will go through this routine because, quite honestly, I want to get better. I'm not there yet. I know I'm not there yet. And while advice from YouTubers like me, they help sometimes, it's very generic. It's very random. It might apply to you. It might not apply to you at all. But this here is specific, and it's as specific as it can be. So let's finish talking. And now you want to know how this can be achieved. And I only show you that now because it's not just like you type a prompt into ChatGPT and that's it, and you get this nice report. You have to do some work. That I can tell you. So we go now in PixInsight. So what do you need? First of all, you need a sub. I would take really a good sub. One in the middle of the night when it was really dark, where guiding was working well. So a sub that you would consider one of the best of the series. Next, you will need the stacked image. If you shoot mono, combine the colors, RGB or SHO, crop it so that the stacking errors are out, but do nothing else. Also, do not stretch it. The next thing we need is for each of both. This here, the Aberration Inspector. So I got this for the sub and I got one for the stacked. How do you get them? You simply select the picture, you go into Script, Image Analysis, Aberration Inspector. You click it and you just check that it's here the picture that you want. You say OK and you get exactly this here. So with that we have 4 pictures. The 5th is your final picture of the processing with PixInsight and Photoshop or Luminar Neo or whatever. The one which you will submit to Astrobin or Insta or whatever, that's the number 5. And these are the 5 pictures which we will supply to ChatGPT. Now, this sounds easy. It isn't. And if you talk long enough with ChatGPT, it will convince you that the best way to do it is to simply upload it to Dropbox or Google Drive or whatever and provide the link to it, as these are large files. Now, sometimes even ChatGPT tells you something to do it. It actually is completely incapable of working with that. And that's the case. ChatGPT cannot work off a link. So even it tells you to do that, don't do it, that's not working. But then the other problem is that ChatGPT can only work with files to about 20 megabytes, while a stacked image like this one, a FITS file, has about 500 megabytes, so it's way too large. Then also, ChatGPT wanted to convince me that I actually should provide FITS file, while it can absolutely not read FITS file. So that's still a little bit the issue with ChatGPT, that sometimes it just recommends stuff it cannot do. So our mission is we have to ensure that in the highest preserved quality possible, we can provide these pictures to ChatGPT, but they should not be more than about 10 megabyte each. So how do we do that? With the stacked picture, simply create a PNG out of it. So File, Save As, and you choose here PNG, and that's it. And you get to this number which you can use. And by the way, you see the nomenclature that I use. I call this M13 stacked. The other is the M13 sub. And then we have here, for example, the M13 sub mosaic. It automatically gives it then the name mosaic. And the other is the M13 stacked mosaic. So PNG for the stacked one. Let's first go with these here. For the two mosaics, simply transfer them to TIFF files. They're rather small. If you go Save As and then say TIFF, they will be okay, around 7 megabytes or something like that, depending on your camera, but it will be definitely okay. So the two mosaics we do as TIFFs. And now with the sub, it would be good that we also could do it with a TIFF, because then we don't lose from a compression point of view. And here we go a little bit a different route. We go to Process, All Processes, and then we take Resample. And you see it tells you here that at the moment it's 24 megabytes. So you can, for example, say I go down to 60%, and then it tells you now it's just 8.9 megabytes. That's good. You throw that on here, and then you save it also as a TIFF. And with your final picture, either also save it as a PNG if you still have it in here, or just compress it any other way with JPEG or PNG until you have a decent file size. So we have 5 pictures now. Is this everything we need? No, it's not. The next thing we need is of the sub, and please do that still on the full resolution, by the way. So I do now an undo, so that we have again the full resolution of the picture. Good. So for the sub and for the stacked picture, we need data. We need 2 data points per picture. One we get with a process called FITS header. So you open the FITS header. I'll take now here the M13 stacked. So this is all what's in the header. It tells exactly what the camera is, coordinates, and. So you go down here on this square, and now you see here the code. And you copy paste this part here out of it. And then you do exactly the same with the sub. You see it's more data here in the sub. Again, you go on the square, you copy paste this out of it in whatever, in a mail or whatever, just that you have it available afterwards. So we need that data. Once you have done that, last data we need, we go to script, we go to render and to PSF image. And we run PSF image on this picture. This might take a while, especially have a picture like here with lots and lots of stars. This might per picture take a few minutes. Okay, here we get it, and once you have it, same procedures as before, summary here, copy and paste that on a safe place and do it with the other picture too. And once you have done that, we have everything, and we can finally go to the prompt. Okay, and this is how the prompt looks like. I'm submitting an astrophotography image for critical review. Files. So here you enter all the files with the file names. You will attach them afterwards. I will show you how. Then 1.1 PSF image output. So here you paste now the two summaries of two PSF image scripts to run. Then comes 1.2 fits header. So here you entered now the fits header of the two picture. Here you have to name them, that it knows which is which. So that's all the data. Then comes number 2, capture gear. So here you have to enter your telescope, your camera, your filters, and your mount and guiding option. Then comes the acquisition settings. So what's the target? What was the total integration time? The sublength and counts, the binning, and the calibration frames used. Afterwards comes the sky and session conditions. So where did I shoot it from? What's my portal class? What were the moon phase? What was the ambient temperature? What was the wind? Transparency notes. I didn't go here so much in detail, but the better, obviously, with all of that, you can add more information that I added here. So nobody says the stuff that I figured out now and entered here that is finite. It's always like that. In ChatGPT, the more data you provide, the more you get out of it. So afterwards, 5 is stacking workflow. So I tell it that I use Astropixel processor, that I drizzle. And then 6 is the processing workflow. So here in Pixel Insight, I just tell about what processes I used. The last point, here you tell what you want. Also here you can add more things if you feel that something I missed. But this is about what I came up with. And these are also the sections that I just showed you, what it comes back with and what it tells you. And so once you have written all of that, you can do it. Sometimes it's easier not to do it in ChatGPT with such complex prompts, but do it in Word or in any other text editor. But once you're finished, you copy it, you open in ChatGPT a new chat, you paste that, then you go here on plus, upload file. So here you add now all the pictures. So that will be this here, open. So it loads them. And so before we hit the arrow, there's one thing which is really important. Make sure that you choose the model 03. Not 4.0, which you usually would use. That's not good enough for something like that. So use 03. And 03 is, to my understanding, also in the free version available. You might have a limitation on how many times you can use it per month and so on, but you have it available. So choose 03, then press the arrow button, and the result will be exactly what we have seen at the start. As stated, this is my version of the prompt. And this is not etched in stone. It depends on what you want to get out of it. You could ask it that it's in one of these areas way more specific, goes much more into depth, does much more guiding for you in certain areas. So don't take especially this last part, this part 6, for granted. Really read it through and make sure that's also what really you want to get out of it. You put still some work into it, and then so ensure that it's really worthwhile. Also, you might not use PixInsight, and you have to adapt all of that a little bit, but it's not like it would not work with some of these pictures, with some of the data. It will, in any case, as soon as you feed it something, you will get something back. But obviously, the more information it has, the better qualified the answer will be, like with everything in this world. It's great to see that you stuck to the end, that you watched this whole part, and now it's up to you to try it, to give it a chance. And I hope that when you do it, that the claim I made at the very beginning, that you can get better fast, is really the case. Please leave your experience with this prompt in the comments below. I'm interested what you think of the results. See you next time, and clear skies.